We will rise again to glory then, soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe. We're unstoppable, powerful, enough to beat the odds. If you love me, you will see the flames inside of me.
You know what? I don't even care about that. Whatever that is. Yes. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Seduce Me, the Demon War. I want to apologize beforehand because my voice is a little shot. I just recorded Seduce Me. Not Seduce Me. Amnesia. I just recorded Amnesia Memories, and Orion's voice, she like, messes up my voice whenever I try to read. So, as you can hear, it's kind of, because I do the high-pitched voice, like, hey, how you doing? I do that kind of voice, so it hurts a little bit. Anyway. This was completely crazy. I was stuck in the demon world with the man I loved, and I had to wait until the war was over to even consider going home. There we go. I held James' hand tightly as we walked through the halls of the castle, now worried and remembering my nightmare once again. I began to feel nervous, nauseous, I don't know. Even, there were so many things wrong about this, and there were even more things that could go wrong with this plan. Sorry. Kill the Demon Lord? It sounded so simple, but this war had been going on for a while. I got so many hiccups. Who knew truly if this was the final battle? James most likely felt the nervousness in my hand and as he gave me a gentle squeeze, catching my attention and breaking my thoughts.
Are you okay?
Does it matter what I say? Why am I down with Eric? What the hell? Busted. Ooh, that makes me curious. But, no. There we go. I couldn't lie to him. I was worried about this whole ordeal. Add on the fact that we were in the demon world where James came from, and my worries increased tenfold. James gently squeezed my hand, leaning over to kiss my head gently.
Everything will be all right. We'll get back home soon enough.
Are you sure about that? I know, but... James looked to me, staring at me with worry of his.
Are you worried about your nightmare?
I nodded. The nightmare I had mildly plagued me, reminding me of what things James could potentially do. I knew it wasn't truth, but a part of me became fearful of its honesty being the case. James furrowed his eyebrows slightly before releasing my hand and wrapping it beneath his arm, walking with me like a gentleman.
Whatever happens, I promise that no one will hurt you.
I squeezed James' arms, believing him at least for now. It was comforting to know that he was going to protect me and help me through this. We continued down the hall, led by our guide, toward our room. The others were given rooms apparently on the opposite end of the castle, so they can't hear us. While James and I claimed the ambassador's room I had stayed in the night before. At least it was a room I was familiar with. I began to space out, imagining what was going to happen. We would kill the Demon Lord, break the curse on me, and go home and be married. That was the plan, but what if we couldn't kill him? What if he was more powerful than we thought? James, however, gently nudged me, catching my attention and breaking me from my thoughts.
Did you know that time works differently between the human and demon worlds?
Yeah. But just to humor you, I say I don't. I could tell that he was trying to calm me down with something else to keep my mind on. I became curious as to what he meant. Time works differently here?
Indeed. In this world, time moves slower. What would take a day to grow in the human world would take 5 days here.
I was astonished time was that different. I began to wonder how long had I been gone from the human world if that was the case. As if James read my mind, he smiled at me.
You were gone for about 5 hours before we found you.
5 hours?! I had been in the demon world for an entire day, but back home I hadn't been gone that long. It made no sense at all, but James continued to speak as I stared in shock.
When you didn't arrive at the hall, we sent everyone home and used our powers to make sure no one would be suspicious. Once everyone left, we tracked you down and came here to find you.
I nodded in reply, taking in the explanation. It was crazy to think about, but I guess it made sense. My mind wanted to fight it, but I had to remember this was a new world filled with its own rules, so human logic didn't necessarily apply here. We finally arrived in our room and we were left alone for the night. I sat down on the bed, feeling the exhaustion of the day take over as James examined the room carefully. He walked around the room, observing each bit of decor with curious care.
So this is Lilith Castle.
Yes, sir. I raised an eyebrow. This place had a name? Lilith Castle. I hate that name so much. My tongue will not cooperate with You know what? I'm just gonna stop. James nodded, walking over to the tapestry on the wall and examining it as he explained.
This castle was the home of the first succubus, Lilith. Demons of Lilith, like myself and my brothers, come from one of thousands of branches of her bloodline. But we're not pure-blooded incubi. Diana, however, is a pure-blooded succubus, directly descended from Lilith herself.
My dream flashing before my eyes reminded me of Diana's words towards James. I nodded understanding as he continued with a small smile.
That's why her family was able to convince the demon lord to make her my betrothed. They were extremely powerful and could easily charm others, being of pure Lilith blood.
And you're half-brute. Makes sense, okay. I could only imagine it, remembering how Diana controlled an entire school like it was easy for... Oh, I remember that. Like it was easy for her sent a small shiver down my spine. If she was that powerful, then how powerful was she now after so long? Boop. Oh, boop. James chuckled a bit, breaking my thoughts.
Of course, you know what happened after that.
Oh, I know all too well. James finally walked over and sat beside me, softly wrapping an arm around my waist and bringing me close to him. I nuzzled his shoulder, enjoying the warmth of his body, remembered clearly what had happened. James chose me after all, and I chose him. We loved each other and defied Diana's attempts to take him away because of it. I couldn't have been more proud of myself at that moment in time. James leaned down a bit and whispered in my ear, "Hey, little mama, whisper in your ear," making me shiver slightly in his arms.
Besides, the woman I'm engaged to now is more amazing than any princess in all of the 5 worlds.
Oh, James. 5. Abyssal plains, earth, heaven, hell. What's the 5th world? What is the 5th world? I can't think of anything that the 5th world would be. I have absolutely no idea. Is it like the world between heaven and hell? I don't know. I blushed at his words, feeling my heart skip a beat. James really did love me. Kiss that man. Kiss him now. He was so sweet and caring. I felt blessed being able to be with him, both as his fiancé and physically in the same world. My worries began to slowly break apart and melt in my chest as I looked up at him and leaned in, capturing his lips with my own. James seemed surprised for a moment before he let out a soft groan escape his lips and kissed me back. He gently pressed a hand on my back and on the back of my head, keeping me close as we kissed each other lovingly. Whoa, that is a word that I've never seen, but I know what it is, but it's a word I've never seen actually used. It was almost orgasmic. What? That's a word? Surprise overwhelms me. The way his lips move against mine. As we slowly pulled away from each other, letting our breaths intermingle in the space between us, James smiled. I became lost in his whiskey brown eyes, wanting so much to forever be entranced by them.
Come, let's get some sleep. We have a lot to do tomorrow.
You can't use the word orgasmic and then just expect me to sleep. I nodded and both of us settled into bed, drifting to sleep as our heads hit the pillows. I felt at peace knowing that James was by my side. Put my piece in. I'm sorry if you can hear the gurgling sound. My dog's stomach is upset, and she's laying behind me in my bed. The poor baby. I think she ate something bad. But my peace didn't last long. What the? I felt the void around me shift and brighten to a blinding white, causing me to shut my eyes. You're asleep. Feathers gently brushed against my skin, and I lurched and squirmed away from them instinctively. What was happening to me? Diana's voice echoed through the air, surprising me and causing me to look around. As I turned my head to look behind me, a pair of arms wrapped themselves around me and held me close. What?
Don't struggle.
Seto? What is happening here? Seto?
Et hic habet potestatum, adoro teut non exiturum.
E credere de locoisto.
I became lost in what was happening. Nothing was making sense, but I knew that they were speaking some sort of form of Latin. The voices that weren't Diana and Seto, however, stuck fear into my core with each word they spoke.
Seto, end this!
On Diana's command, Seto cast some sort of spell, causing his body and mind to become enveloped in gold light. I felt every nerve in my body heat up and almost uncomfortably make me squirm slightly in Seto's arms. Seto, however, tightened his hold on me and continued casting his spell. At last, the world around me suddenly went dark and I found myself shooting up in bed awake.
What?
I looked to my side to see James shaken awake by my sudden outburst. His eyes were glossed over from exhaustion, but he continued to watch me with worry. This was the second time I woke him up with this. Damn it.
Why are angels hunting you?
I don't know! James and I suddenly shot our heads towards the sound of Diana's voice, seeing her and Seto by the door. She had her arms crossed and looked for a look of pure irritation on her face as she awaited my answer. However, I didn't know what to say. Angels were hunting me? I stared at Diana, confused as to what she meant. James sat up at last, matching her expression with irritation of his own.
What are you talking about?
I wasn't speaking to you, James.
Shoot, what is his true name? Forgot. My eyes widened at the slip. Did she almost say James's real name? Diana growled and clicked her teeth before looking at me again, glaring harder.
Your dream almost allowed them to erase your memories.
I'm sorry? My body chilled at the thought. What the hell? I was confused and fearful of what was going on. What was happening? Why were angels after me? James wrapped his arms around me, seeing me visibly shaken at Diana's words.
Explain, Diana.
Ask your fiancée why she's targeted by them. Don't ask me. I want to know as well.
Why would I know? How would I know? I don't know. I truly didn't know. What could I say? This was the first I had heard of angels hunting me. The dream was not a dream I had ever experienced before.
Angels don't target just anyone. They have to have a reason for hunting people down to erase their memories.
Probably because I know about magic in the demon world and I have slightly a little bit of magic. Maybe that's why.
Especially when their target is in the demon world.
Don't ask me. I held my head and shook it, trying to figure it out. Did I do something wrong? What did I do to incur the wrath of angels? Diana sighed and rubbed her temple.
Well, they've been expelled from the castle for now. For how long? Who knows? However, we need to figure out why they are trying to take your memories away.
Looking up at last at Diana, I could tell that this was a serious situation. Seto looked at the floor, exhausted from casting the spell to expel them himself. Diana growled beneath her teeth as she looked at the wall.
Another problem. Great. Can this war be any more irritating?
It's not Seto's fault. He was helping me. Don't be mad at him. I felt myself curl into myself a bit at Diana's irritation. I was already a problem that she was going to help solve, and now there was a second problem on top of that. James hugged me gently against his chest, comfortingly, feeling me shirk. Okay, back away from Diana.
Is that all?
From the tone of James' voice, he wanted Diana to leave immediately. Really? That's all? Diana looked over and stared at James. A flash of slight fear in her eyes before her face hardened to a cold glare.
No. Whatever you are doing to try and make me fear you needs to stop.
Why are you two so damn mean to each other?
I don't know what you were talking about.
I know what she's talking about. James, you're being totally mean to her.
Say what you will, but I can recognize fear enthrallment anywhere. Thank your father for that.
I looked at James, seeing him glare hard at Diana. While Diana simply glared back when my eyes trailed to Seto, I could see a form of jealousy burn in his gaze. Aw, Seto. At my fiancé. What was happening? James?
Yes, love?
What is wrong with you two? Diana turned on her heel towards Seto, now furious for some reason. Seto, seeing his mistress turn, quickly turned as well and opened the door for her.
Sleep. We have work to do tomorrow.
What is going on? Diana left with Seto right behind her, closing the door. James' embrace finally relaxed around me and pulled me close. What was that about?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do! Can I say truly? Please tell me I can say truly. Bam, chicka, bam. Well, I can say truly, because I want to know what's wrong with you two. James nodded as I turned in his arms to fully observe him. James' face seemed very genuine. Still, something was off and I knew it. It had happened when James arrived and apparently only occurred when Diana was around. it was some sort of power struggle between Diana and James, and he was winning, at least from what I could tell. I shook my head. If James didn't know what was happening, then maybe it was just my imagination. It's not your imagination, girl. I want to know. James, however, stared at me with pure concern written all over his expression.
But was Diana right? Are angels after you?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just had a dream that was full of light and feathers, and a look of fear ran across James's face for a moment before he shook his head and returned to his calculated but worried expression. Was Diana correct? Was it an angel attack and not just some sort of random dream? My memories recalled when I was captured. The voices that appeared in my room before the Imps came sounded so familiar to the ones in my dream. Had they been angels as well? This was crazy. What was going on? First I'm cursed, then I'm hunted. Oh my gosh, can't catch a break. This was unbelievable in every sense of the word. Nothing made sense, and this entire situation was confusing. What would angels want with me? James shook his head and kissed my forehead.
Well, they're gone now. Let's get some more sleep.
I'm not sleeping with angels on the prowl. I nodded, wrapping my arms around James and lying back with him. He slowly began to pet my hair, most likely waiting for me to sleep first before he did. Slowly I closed my eyes and let the darkness of sleep take over me once again. This time there were no rocky dreams. I simply floated in darkness until I naturally woke up, still in James' arms. Just checking my time. I looked up at James' sleeping face, so peaceful and almost happy. His arms around my form made me feel warm and fuzzy inside, causing me to cuddle him closer to his body. Unconsciously, James pulled me closer to him, wrapping his arms tighter around me. I could tell he was awake, however. His breathing wasn't slow like it usually was when he slept. James? He's trying. No response. He was pretending, which made me giggle a bit. Little things like this took my mind off the world and made me forget my troubles, whatever they were. I guess that was the blessing of being in love. I smiled and kissed James' cheek, making him smile grow a bit more. I knew it. I know you're awake.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I laughed and playfully smacked his upper arm, making him laugh as well, and open his eyes to look at me with a loving but tired gaze. I became once again lost in his eyes as he smiled at me.
Good morning. Did you sleep better?
I guess. I nodded, knowing he would be happy to hear it. I was more than happy to say it before snuggling into his arms, nuzzling his chest. What about you? Did you sleep well? James nodded and ran his hand through my hair, petting me lovingly.
I did. All I did was dream of you.
Aw, ain't that sweet. A soft blush formed my cheeks before I looked up at him, seeing him smile down at me.
It's the truth. Would you like to hear?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Felt myself nod before I even tried to think about the question. James smirked a bit before wrapping his arms around me fully and leaning in to whisper in my ear.
I dreamt that we were on a private island, basking in the sand beneath the sun. The wind was perfect, and you looked absolutely stunning in your swimsuit.
I began to imagine myself, causing the blush on my face to intensify. As James tightened his hug around me, my body began to heat up on its own from the warmth his body gave me.
Then you pulled me into a kiss. One that I couldn't help but melt into. You kept teasing me until I pinned you down against the sand. And I made you beg for me to kiss you.
Continue. James peppered kisses along my neck, made my body shiver at both the image of his dream and feeling of his lips upon my skin. I let out a silent but shaky sigh as James nuzzled my head, opening his mouth to say more. At last our moment was broken by a loud knock on our door. Now I wanted to know more.
Boy, quit fucking in there. You got food for... Go! Little shit!
No, we're replaying that line. I'm sorry, but I must. Scroll back, please. Again.
Boy, quit fucking in there. You got food for... Go! Little shit!
Who did that? Please tell me it was Matthew.
Oh, I don't want to imagine that, dude.
Beautiful! Absolutely beautiful.
We do have food, though. May we come in?
Yes, you may. After that little performance, you may come in. James and I let out a simultaneous sigh. So much for enjoying the moment. This was the misfortune of not being alone. I knew that we would eventually have our alone time together, but for now, a blush of embarrassment ran across my cheeks in response of Sam's allegation. Did I say Sam or James? James smiled and kissed my forehead before lifting his head and sitting up.
Come on in. We just got up.
Ruined a story time, gosh. It's Irene, right? Her hand is like, girl! Let me tell you what that dude did last night. I don't know. I sat up as well, right as the door opened to the hallway, revealing James's brothers and their wives with plates of food. Eric and Irene each carried 2 plates and handed the extras to me and James.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, brother. Thanks, Irene.
My pleasure.
Aw, okay, you're kind of sweet. I'm sorry for always being mean to you. On the plate was food I recognized, bread, cheese, fruit, and some sort of jerky. Yum. I assumed it was safe and something I could stomach. James placed his plate on his lap before looking to the group.
So, training starts today.
Finally! I get to kick some ass.
Wow! Yeah.
You kick ass anyway, you dork.
You two are so adorable. Sam blushed, whoa, and rubbed his neck before stuffing his face with food. Not wanting to say anymore. Matthew laughed and nodded. Carrie, high five, you got him to blush. I'm so proud of you, Carrie.
We know what you mean, dude. We can finally kick that old man's ass.
High five, Matthew.
Not to be the skeptical brother here, but is it possible to become stronger than him in just a week? It's been a while since we've had any encounter involving combat after all.
You know, I was hoping Eric would say something motivational like the other two, and I was gonna give him a bro fist, but now, not so much. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why does Eric only have 4 fingers on his left hand? Oh, Eric, you silly goose.
We'll kill him.
Whoa! Whoa! Go a little yandere on me there, Damien. Calm down. Everyone looked at Everyone looked to Damien. Damien. My mouth is like I don't even want to acknowledge Damien anymore. Everyone looked to Damien, seeing his stern and cold expression. I frowned, knowing why Damien was so angered at the demon lord as the bastard son. Damien had been left for dead, only to survive thanks to his brothers. Oh, Damien, pat, whatever. Damien had more reason than most to hold a grudge against the demon lord. Yeah, but damn, dude. James overcleared his throat and looked to Eric.
We won't be fighting him alone. This rebellion will help us and allow us to focus our energy on defeating him.
So, you know the I don't know if it's a vine or anything, but the thing, damn, Daniel, can we go, damn, Damien? I want to do that now. Make that a thing.
I've been waiting years to kick his arrogant brute face in.
I thought you said Eric. His Eric brute face in. That's what I heard.
I think we all have a grudge against him, Sam.
Darn right we do.
We got this.
Hell yeah, we do.
I would not be so sure.
Seto, don't you dare. If you are a Debbie Downer, you can leave this room right now. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Self-voicing disabled.
Thank you. Everyone turned to see Seto in the doorway alone, leaning against the archway with his arms crossed.
Oh, Sarah, where is...
It's Seto. Seto! The R is kind of like a D.
My mistress had a rough night. She's still recovering from it.
But what about you? You're the one who did the spell. I grimaced, knowing that the reason she had a rough night was because of me. Seto, however, seemed to be re-energized and somewhat bright-eyed. His gaze landed on James and glared hard. What is wrong with you guys? Caused my fiancé to straighten up a bit.
None of you know what has happened these past 10 years. None of you know of the Demon Lord's true strength.
I'm sorry.
Then would you care to enlighten us?
At last, Seto pushed off the doorway and walked further into the room. Closing the door behind him, he looked to each brother, examining each man before settling his gaze on James again.
The Demon Lord is a madman.
No way. Never would have guessed.
You don't need to tell us that.
No. He was mad before, but he lost his mind completely when my mistress formed the rebellion against him. He's killed thousands by his own hand alone out of pure rage.
Seto's grip on his spear tightened as something resurfaced in his thoughts, reflected in his glare.
Too many times has my lady faced off against him and almost lost her life in exchange.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That was my heart snapping into two. Seto's cold stare re-hardened itself on his face as he shook away the thought and looked to Damien, who had a stony expression to match.
What makes you think that you, a band of humanized demons, have any chance...
Okay, did say Damien. Sorry, I wasn't making sure.
What makes you think that you, a band of humanized demons, have any chance of destroying him on your own?
Because the game ends with a happy ending. That's how... The brothers seemed to glare in unison at Seto, as did the wives. I, however, saw his point. The boys had been in the human world for for over 2 years. They had missed so much here and had grown accustomed to human life, sorry. I'd only been here a day and knew that this world was much more ruthless than the human world. Step out of the way, James. I can handle this guy. Sam stood and marched towards Seto, standing almost noose to noose. Good job, May. Nose to nose with the guard and giving him a terrifying glare.
What makes you think we can't, Rick?
You know, Sam, I might like you, but don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I have seen with my own eyes what the Demon Lord can do in battle.
We had to live with that sack of shit for almost 100 years as his sons.
Whoa.
You know more than you ever will.
You could say Sexto's into older guys.
Sam, that's enough.
No, it's not.
Sam, that is enough. I will take that chain that's around your wrist, put it around your neck, and put you on a friggin' leash. Sam and Seto continued to glare daggers into each other's souls, anger burning in their eyes without a sign of retreat.
We had to live with the fact that our dad burnt down villages, enslaved people, and stole hundreds of lives day after day, ending his night fucking a woman who was chained to a goddamn bed.
Carrie.
What the fuck makes you think
Carrie.
that we don't know anything about him?
Carrie, handle your husband. Damien seemed to flinch at Sam's words, but his angered face remained as Seto, sorry, right in my eye, and Sam had their own stare down. Seto, however, remained unfazed.
Like I said, he has completely lost his mind. If he was a monster before, he is Satan himself now. He does more than slaughter and burn villages. He takes prisoners and paints the ground with their blood while howling into the sky.
Okay, this isn't a competition.
He leads legions of imp demons who do nothing but make sure their victims suffer in agony before making them beg for death. He now takes pleasure not in a bed, but in the screams of millions.
Oh boy. In an act of defiance, Seto straightened his back and almost towered over Sam, gritting his teeth.
If anything, the reason he's as mad as he is now is because you all decided to run. So the blame for this war rests on all your shoulders.
I was hoping that wouldn't come up. Oh! Instantly, Sam's fist on Seto's face. I was hoping to avoid this. Oh, dear. Met Seto's jaw and forced him back towards the door. How dare you hit Seto? How dare you? You don't hit that precious baby. He's been through so much. Seto slammed into the door and gripped his hand over his mouth. Are we getting pain? No! Okay, handle this.
Sam!
Sam!
Yeah, Sam!
Fuck you! Do not blame this fucking war on us!
Well... Okay, I'm not saying. Seto wiped his lip of fresh blood and began to... It began dripping from his mouth and glared as if the punch wasn't painful as it looked.
Arrogant mutt! The call of the human world was too tempting for you to ignore. You have forgotten about duty and responsibility.
We left because we were tired of the lives we had.
Matthew, please don't get into this.
You left the world and everyone in it to become the victim of a madman and a world war. None of you understand what we have even sacrificed to stay alive.
No, we don't. And we never will.
I am really sad and upset right now. I'm not happy. James finally stood up from the bed and placed a hand on Sam's shoulder, forcing... He wasn't even out of the bed? Alright. Forcing him to step back, Sam rejoined Carrie, who wrapped her arm around him in comfort. James looked at Sarah.
You cannot blame us for wanting to be free.
Just like you guys want to be free. Come on. What? Seto, on the other hand, began to laugh. It was a painful laugh, but one full of anger.
You have no right to defend yourself, eldest son. Because of you specifically, my mistress's entire world was destroyed.
I'm so upset. Why? I started wide-eyed at Seto. This was about their betrothal, marriage. But James did what was best for him. He and I didn't care about the consequences of our love. Okay, you know what? No, that's not right. That's not right. There are always consequences, and you should care about what consequences there are. But Seto's painful words made me shake. Seto's eyes began to burn once again in jealousy at James' rage at his words. You know, I never really thought about the consequences of keeping the boys here, and now I feel terrible. Diana's entire family died because we were selfish enough to keep these boys here, which makes me feel terrible.
Because of you, the only people she had in this world, her family was brutally murdered in the most sadistic of ways. imps painted the walls of the castle nursery in the king and queen's blood, while her unborn baby sister was ripped from the queen's womb and nailed to the wall like a hunting trophy.
Oh. God. This is like the most pain I've ever been in while playing a game. Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm completely on Seto's side now. At first I was on the boy side, but now I'm on Seto's side because he's completely right. We didn't think about any consequences before they stayed. We didn't think about what would happen. A giant world war broke out. We didn't care. Apparently, because love overrules all. I don't believe that. I felt sick to my stomach just imagining it, despite not wanting to in the first place. The imagery was just too much, but Seto continued without mercy.
Sayer had to watch her kingdom burn before her eyes and listen to the screams of her people when she returned from the human world after hunting you all down. It was only after the siege when she saw the fate of her own family.
Okay, here's what I want. I don't want a third game of their marriages. I want a third game. If this isn't already in Diana's route, I want a third game of what happened when the boys stayed in the human world and what happened to Diana. I want to play the game from Diana's view. Like from playing from Sexto's view, that's what I want. I want Diana to be the main character. I want to play it from there. That's what I want. Michaela Laws, that's what I want. I want to play from Diana's view. Write in the comments if you think that is a great idea, because imagine the field strip. Seto finally straightened up. At the sight, he looked powerful and strong, but his eyes burned with anger and rage as he glared at James. For the first time in my life, I saw fear run through James' eyes.
Yet you all claim innocence.
You all know nothing of innocence!
I hate her so much.
Enough, Seto!
I can't handle this. I feel genuine hate for myself right now. I literally hate, like, if I was Sexto right now, I literally hate what I've done. This is all my fault. Everyone shot their head towards Diana's voice to see her standing in the corner of the room, shrouded by shadow. Shadow just standing there like, what's up? However, I could faintly see her tears running down Diana's cheek, despite the terrifying anger on her face towards Seto.
You will not speak of the past again, Seto. Understood?
Yes, my lady.
I understand why he would do that, though. He cares about you. He had to get it out somehow. He's not the only one who suffered. I mean, you're not the only one who suffered. He suffered too. Diana finally stepped away from the corner and stood in front of Seto and across from James, uncaring towards the rough tears running down her face.
What's done is done. We can't ever change the past, no matter how desperately we try. What matters now is preparing for the Demon Lord and the final battle.
Oh my god, I cannot handle all this stuff. Oh my gosh, I can't handle all the stuff that just happened right now. James nodded. It was a sour note to end on, but Diana's words were the truth. We couldn't linger on pointing fingers and having doubts now. I'm gonna end it here because I am so emotionally wrecked right now from all the stuff Seto said and how true it was and how selfish I feel right now. I feel like I just need a break. I need a break from feeling selfish because of this damn game. It feels so terrible. Oh, James Root. Ouch, 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 ouch. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.